Chapter 13, problem number 3. It is a linear optimization problem. There are several different restraints, constraints, limits, whatever you want to call them. One is the amount of assembly time total. One is the testing time total, and there's 3 different products, okay? And then we have our minimums and maximums of each of the products. So I'm going to go ahead and work on the first couple of parts of this problem, A and B. So give me 1 second. So here's problem 3. So from the multiple videos that I have watched about using Solver in Excel, they basically all say the same thing. You should write out the goal of what you're trying to do. So in this problem, we're trying to maximize profits. The decision control variables are how many of each product, okay? And then the limits, there's a ton of them. So we're going to go ahead and list them out one at a time. But one thing at a time. First thing we're going to do is come up with a mathematical model. And it kind of looks like this. Well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to name each of the parts with a variable, just a letter. So A is the number of control valves, B is the number of metering pumps, C is the number of hydraulic cylinders. And the goal is going to look something like this, right? I'm going to get the maximum numbers of each one of these 3 different parts, multiplied by the price per unit, and try to maximize that total profit. That is my goal. Next, what we're going to do is write down the constraints. Here's all the constraints from the data above. Plus, we want to maximize this equation, okay? So the 372 is the unit price for A, 174 unit price for B, etc., etc. So we're trying to maximize that. So remember, the variables A, B, and C represent the number of each product. So the constraints are as follows, right? This is all given. They got a maximum assembly time of 3150. So the 45A is 45 minutes for each one of the control valves. So 45 times the number of control valves will give you the number of assembly minutes for A. Same thing for B, same thing for C. When you add them up, they have to be less than 3150. Same thing with the timing, testing timing. So the 20A means it takes 20 minutes for one control valve. So the number of control valves times the number of minutes, you do the same thing. You add them all up. They have to be minimum then 21. And here's the restraints for each one of the number of parts. Next step. What I did was I put in the actual unit prices from the data here, right? Just to get this box up and ready to go. Then I built what I call the box, okay? So the box looks like this. So the number of A's, B's, and C's, we don't know, okay? So I put that in there. Let me center it up so you can see a little bit better. Right? These are your decision numbers or your control numbers. These are your variables. They're going to change, okay? This is what Solver works with. But here's the actual values for each one of the units, right? Assembly time, 45 minutes for each A, 20 for each B, 30 for each C. Testing time, it's same, right? I'm just pulling it right off here, okay? And then we should put in the restraints for each one of these unknown variables, right? And that's where this comes from. This comes from over here, but so after that, we're going to put in the formulas. Importante. Why are we figuring out the assembly time and testing time instead of the profit? Well, that's a good question. The profit depends on the maximum amount of each product that can be made, and the main restrictors are the assembly time and the testing time. That's why we have to figure these out. Okay, so let's see if we can hammer out a formula. There's more than one way to do what I'm about to do, okay? So, but this is the cell I want. I'm going to use something that I call sum product. I did learn that in a video. So it allows you to multiply columns by columns or rows by rows. So equals, type in SUM, and it didn't pop up. Hold on, let's keep typing. There it is, sum product. Okay, array 1 is going to be our unknowns. Okay, That's going to change. Comma, don't forget your comma. Row 2 is our assembly time. Close parentheses, enter. It should be a 0 because these things are blank. So here's a trick. I'm going to go to the original formula that I just typed in, and I want to keep these numbers A, B, C were the number of. Okay, I want to try to keep those numbers. So to freeze them into the formula, you go up to the function bar, you type a $, carefully, between the number and the letter. And so whenever you transfer, slide, copy that formula, it will always keep those cells exactly where they are. They will not slide. So hit enter, because I'm going to do this. I'm sliding this function down to the next row, so it's going to automatically change these values. Got it? So now I think we're ready to go to Solver. So we're going to go to Solver. We're going to go to Data, Solver, and give me a second. Let's hope we can do this right the first time. Okay, set objective. Make sure your cursor's there. We're going to pick this cell. It has a formula in it. That's the restraint there, okay? So second step, we're going to maximize it. Third step, by changing the variable cells. These are our variables. We don't know what the numbers are, okay? So here comes the long part. We have to put in the restraints. Okay, first restraint. Let's pick number A, right? It has a greater than 5, less than 20. So my first one, I'm going to hit add. Give it a second. My computer gets weird when I do this. But I'm going to pick this cell, A. And it has to be less than or equal to 20. Add. I'm going to pick this cell again. Restrictions on A. It has to be greater than or equal to 5, right? Add. We're going to do the next cell, B. Make sure your cursor's in the constraint box before you go clicking. And it has to be less than or equal to 50. Add. Picking B again. This time it has to be greater than or equal to 12. Add. Our C, restraints, has to be less than or equal to 45. Add. C has to be greater than or equal to 22. Add. Okay, and there are two others, right? The total assembly time and the total testing time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick this cell and say, look, this sucker has to be less than 3150. Add. And this cell has to be less than or equal to 2100. Add. Click cancel. Cross your fingers. That looks good to me, right? It's got all your constraints here. We're going to try with the linear. Cross your fingers. Hit solve. Okay, we always get this thing, but look, it did give you the answers here. Ta-da! So this is the maximums right here, right there. Yay. Okay. So we're almost done. We now know the number of A, B's, and C's. We're simply going to cut and paste that back up into here. So we have all the information we need here. So let me slide this over so you can see it a little bit. I'm going to go back up to the function bar. I'm going to pick this cell, equal some product. So my first array is the number of units, comma, times the individual profit per unit, close parentheses, hit enter, boom. There's your maximum right there. All right, I'm going to show you how to do part C with the sensitivity. It's just one more click. I should have told you this before, but what I had to do is reset everything because it won't save this once you click OK. But you reset everything. You go ahead and you make sure you're in Simplex LP, hit solve. You get this box. You see this little sensitivity box? I think you can do them all at the same time. Right? Just hit shift and control. Click OK. It's going to put out a new page called Sensitivity Report. And it looks like this. Actually, I did it twice, but that's how you answer the next part. C is the sensitivity report. All right, so that's it for me. I hope it helps. MGZ out.